Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, powerhouse knights and maidens, I'm Zoopy Goggins, I'm a frag freak, and I've just ruined my own intro because nothing rhymes with maidens. In this video, I've been tagged by the legendary, the deeply insightful, and the strikingly handsome MrSmelly1977. I'll leave a link in the description, Dan, where you can send the check, alright? Because I don't get that passionate about anyone unless I'm very well paid. Moving on. This is a tag video regarding keep 5 fragrances for life, okay? So if I was to only be able to have 5 fragrances, this would be them. Now, when somebody suggested this to me, I got slightly kerfuffled, you know? I was like, what do you mean? Only 5 fragrances? Because to be quite honest, the thought of only owning 5 fragrances fills me with dread, fear, slight disgust, and large amounts of insecurity, right? But, you know, my reaction to that would have been, if somebody actually literally came to me and said, you're only allowed to have 5 fragrances, I'd say, bugger off, do one, and be gone, right? How dare you? It's rudeness. I beg you to reconsider. At least apologise for the very thought or suggestion. I'm offended. But seeing as it's just like in theory, you know, like if the worst came to the worst and I was only allowed to have 5 fragrances, this is what they'd be, alright? Now, I do have 3 niche in these. Now, all of my reviews up until now have been designers, okay? And don't let that fool you into thinking that I don't have some niche, because I do. I'm just working my way up to those reviews, alright? But I will never fully transition into the niche world as a fully fledged niche snob, because there's too many designers that I really love. So I kind of like both, you know? So in no particular order, although the number 1 is definitely number 1, and maybe number 2 is definitely number 2. Maybe they are in particular order, I don't know. I just like them all anyway, right? So starting off with, and first of all, some of my choices are basically, if I was cornered and someone said, you're only allowed to have 5 fragrances, I would be thinking, okay, which ones do I really like? But almost as importantly, which are the strongest? Okay, because that matters a lot to me. So, based on that, we'll start off with number 5, and like I said, not in any particular order, not really. Excuse me. At number 5, we have the Blue Beast Amouage Interlude. Okay, this one only acquired recently. I had a friend of mine in the fragrance community sent me 10ml of this about a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, something like that, and it lasted me for about 8 months, right? Partly because I was holding back on it a little bit because I loved it so much, but partly because it is so strong and intensely powerful. You have to be a little bit careful opening it, because it opens very suddenly. I don't want to drop it on the floor, which I have done with the fragrance before. Never smashed any of them, but you know, I dented the box on one. Sits in a nice little cradle like that. The bottle is absolutely wonderful. It's got a magnetic cap on here, which not only holds it on and in place, but holds it in the right position. Watch this. If I turn it and then let go, whoop, absolutely excellent. It goes straight no matter what you do with it. This is really nice. The inside of the box actually it's velvety in there. It's really, really nice, and it's a very sturdy box. You can pretty much stand on that. And it's a gorgeous presentation, a lovely good quality bottle. The smell of this one is absolutely divine. I don't need to put any of this on a tester strip. I just wave it near me and I can smell it quite strongly, okay? Notes in this one, it's very, very smoky. It's very smoky indeed. It's very resinous, incensey, and it's got some citrus aspects in here as well, which kind of die off quite quickly. It's full of a popanax and that sort of kind of myrrh type of smell, you know. It's got sort of very heavy in resins and incense and amber and all of those deep, dark, slightly sweet things. And it's quite dry and a bit musky and floral almost. There's some deep florals in this, but it's very dry and not powdery. It's not really powdery. It's maybe a tiny bit, but it's just exceptionally powerful. It's ridiculously strong. It smells churchy. It has a sort of very Middle Eastern vibe to it, really Middle Eastern. It smells like what you would imagine one of those marketplaces to smell like, where there's all kinds of spices and wonderful carpets and incenses and stuff like that on sale with that music in the background and stuff like that. It conjures up all kinds of images of genies in bottles and stuff like that.
Your wish is my sillage.
Performance, utterly ridiculous. Okay, free space, listen, you're right. I've always done it with this one before. It's not going to be everyone's favourite thing. I mean, certainly not a random young lady's kind of compliment magnet fragrance. Certainly not judging from the comments I've had in public wearing this. The random young ladies don't seem to like it. But then I don't care because I love it. And if I did want to impress the random young ladies, but I don't wear any fragrances to try and impress random young ladies. But this one I really, really like. If you were to spray this on a jacket, then you have to be prepared that jacket is going to be your Amouage Interlude jacket, right? Take it from me. Until you wash that item of clothing, it will be on there for months, this one. It's utterly ridiculous, and the performance is superb. I love it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I really like it. Amouage Interlude, one of my desert island frags, if you want to call it that. There you go. That was number 5. Moving on. Next we have Montale Intense Cafe. Now, before I do move on, hang on, rewind. This one, Amouage Interlude, is pretty expensive. I mean, if you were to buy this retail, it's going to cost £225 for that size, which is 100ml, okay? I got mine for 130 off Notino. It's now slightly cheaper at the time of making this video, and I'll link where you can get this from. It's amazing stuff. Right, so anyway, moving on. Montale Intense Cafe, I also got from Notino. I'll throw this in first so I don't forget this time. For the stupid price of £59. This was last Christmas, not the Christmas 2018. It goes for anything up to more than twice that as well. Now it's really good to grab it if you keep an eye on it on Notino. You can sometimes see it cheaper than its full price, but it's still going to be very expensive. Montale Intense Cafe comes in this metal bottle, which I don't really like because although it makes ecological sense and stuff like that, I can't tell how much is in there, and it feels really light. So the aesthetics is not really there for me bottle-wise, but I can't complain. Well, I can actually. I will do. It's rubbish. I can't tell how much is in there at all. I think there's about 3/4 in there. I've used quite a lot of it. I've had it since then, and I do use it quite often. This one, it's a very oriental kind of smelling fragrance. It's largely comprised of rose, vanilla, and musk. Okay, it has some florals in here, and it has some amber, giving it additional sweetness. But this one is a performance monster also. This one, it's like... I meant to mention that also about the Amouage Interlude. It's ridiculous. It's off the scale. But this one is also that same type of thing. Not as strong as that one, but it is absolutely amazingly strong as well. Longevity, it's going to last you for longer than... It will last me for longer than I can stay clean for. And... it's also quite a compliment magnet, this one. I've had several unsolicited compliments wearing this one before. One time I was out with my missus and the woman in the shop we went to said, "Oh, I love your perfume," to her. And Debbie, my missus, said, "I think it might be him." And I put my hand out like that, and the woman behind the counter who'd gone bright red said, yeah, it's that. And so... the smell is very beautiful. A lot of people say it's quite synthetic smelling, which I would have to agree with, but it dries down very nicely, and a lot of the beauty of this is in the dry down. And it's not one of those ones where it's going to be like, once it dries down, the novelty's worn off and you think I need to reapply and stuff. It stays very, very strong, even after that initial boom when you put it on. So it's very, very similar to something like Roses Vanille by Mancera. It's all about the rose and vanilla. This one is called Intense Cafe because cafe is coffee, basically, isn't it? It's the, whatever language coffee is, it's Spanish or French or whatever it is. For coffee, I get almost zero coffee from this. Sometimes in the dry down I get a faint whiff of it, but it's all about rose and vanilla and musk, this one for me. Performance through the absolute roof. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. One of my desert island fragrances, if you would. Moving on again. Probably loads of stuff I forgot to say about that one as well, but wing it, Zoo, wing it. You've heard that before. Don't know where the pouch for that one is gone. I'll just put it back in there. There we go. That was number 4. We move to number 3, and in the same kind of vein as the one after this, this is one of my designers, okay? The first two having been niche. This is Boucheron, or Boucheron, I think it's properly pronounced. I've been through that one before. Jaipur Poor Homme. Now this one, I just finished it literally a few days ago. I do have more, but I'm not going to dig it out and open a new one just for this video right now because I want to do another video about that possibly, I don't know, but I've got more. That's what the bottle looks like. The lid is broken, so you can't see that. You'll just have to take it from me. I'll just do a description. There's not going to be much point me holding up this empty bottle. There is the empty bottle. Have a look at it, okay? Boucheron Jaipur Poor Homme is an oriental fragrance. I really like my oriental stuff and spicy stuff and things like that, you know. It's very vanillic. It's very spicy. Is it vanillic? It's more to do with the spices for me. Now, I haven't really redone my research. I'm just going through the smells as they occur to me. Normally I look on Fragrantica and I go through the notes. I can put maybe a couple of things up here for you to remind myself what the actual notes are of this. But it's what I get from it is largely citrus. It's a lemon kind of smell, but it's not that kind of fresh sort of cleaning product lemon. It's very natural smelling lemon, and then it's all about the spices. So there's a lot of cardamom and cinnamon in this. Massive, massive players. There's also rose, geranium, and maybe a couple of other florals in there. I think there's a bit of patchouli in that one, and a myriad of beautiful, beautiful notes. It is one of my favourite ever fragrances, and designer or not, it's utterly stunning. This is the EDP version of it. There is an eau de toilette as well. I have never smelt that one, but I fell so in love with this one that I probably will end up getting the EDT as well, because, you know, may as well. This one, again, performance is amazing. I do love this one in the summer. Now, a lot of people will say steer away from it in the summer, but I love this one in the summer. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's got an aura about it. It's got a character. It's got its own personality. You know, I'm 2 people when I leave the house with this on. And I wouldn't be without this one, hence it being in my top 5. Utterly, utterly stunning. Performance is brilliant. You can still get it. It's not discontinued. You can get it for reasonable prices now, 40 quid thereabouts for 100ml. I'll link again where you can get it from. Probably cheaper than that, actually, if you look around. Maybe eBay, stuff like that. Fantastic fragrance. I've also done a review on this one, link included below. Moving on. Like I mentioned just before that one, in a similar vein to that, because this is quite a similar fragrance, we're going back to niche now, I have to be careful how I pick this one up because I don't want to drop it on the floor. This utter beauty, but slightly over the top and elaborate presentation, belongs to Xerjoff Zafiro. This is part of a range called the X1861 range, of which Naxos is in as well, and one other, Renaissance, I think. And they're all very beautiful. I also have Naxos, but this one does it for me. Seriously, in a massive, massive, massive way. I got this one in about July last year. I've managed to only use about 10ml of it, maybe a bit less there, but I want to use it all the time. I can't afford to. I did get this for a really good price. Again, retail on this one is about 160 quid. I got mine for substantially cheaper, we'll say. Like half of that, right? Less than, in fact. The presentation is stunning. It's a slightly effeminate type of bottle. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's very beautiful. It's got some engraving on the back here. All of it's Italian class and sophistication. Everything, it oozes beauty and sophistication, this one. It's utterly stunning in presentation and scent. Okay. The smell of this one, again, is incense, which I love in a fragrance. Incense comes through really strongly. Then spices. It's the same spices as Jaipur Poor. It has cardamom and cinnamon, which I obviously love because those seem to be what I'm really drawn to in these ones. Then it's lower down. It has some citrus aspect and stuff, which is not really very strong. I get a tiny bit of it in the opening, but it doesn't remain strong. But it's all about those spices and incense. It's sumptuous. It's deep. It's dark. It's alluring. It's massively long-lasting. It's utter heaven in a bottle. I can't praise it highly enough. It's a stunner for me. A 10 out of 10, no problem whatsoever. Utter beauty. Zerzhov Zafiro coming to the island with me as well, if that's what's going to happen, although, whatever. Okay, moving on again. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, those four are available and readily available. I almost didn't include my number one because it's not readily available, right? I was going to do another fragrance and just mention this one, or maybe leave it out altogether, I don't know. But then I thought, if my house was on fire and I could only grab two things, it'd be my wife and this, right? So I thought, why not include it then? Because it doesn't matter if it's discontinued. It's just a video anyways, and you can think about the other four, can't you? The fragrance of which I speak is my number one fragrance of all time. Now, there are other things that I think are better in my collection. I possibly even like the smell of one to wear more, but this one just holds such a massive amount of sentimental value for me that it will always be my number one fragrance, no matter what, right? The fragrance of which I speak is none other than Jean-Paul Gaultier, Fleur de Mal. French meaning of that is male flower, by Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it's a flanker of the original Amouage. Was discontinued. I think this came out in 2009, and it was discontinued in 2015. Gone. You can't get it anymore. Okay. I didn't do any dramatic opening. I'll have to do that again. Let's put that back on there and do a dramatic opening. All right. Here we go. Fleur de Mal. There it is in all its glory. The male torso, ever so slightly on the camp side. It has a collar on here, so you can't accidentally press the button. I'm going to take that collar off. Now, this fragrance is essentially a floral fragrance, hence the name male flower. And that white torso just embodies the fragrance. This, to me, it's all about green and yellow and white, this fragrance. It's a very simple composition. There are only 4 ingredients in it. If I've forgotten this, I'll be really annoyed. Let's just go for it and see if I'm right. I know the smell so well. Right? I think it's neroli, petit grain, basil, and chamomile. And those 4 things, it's very simple composition, like I said, but the smell, it defies that. It's got a complexity all of its own. It's utterly incredible. It's very green and it's very fresh, which is not really usually my thing, but because this is so unique, different, strong, intense and beautiful, it transcends any type of fragrance for me. It's green, it's sweet, it's a bit musky. It's got a damp hay aspect in here. It's got a freshly cut grass aspect in here. It has a herbal aspect. It's got a sunny and raining sort of vibe at the same time. Imagine being in a meadow in the morning as it's been raining and the sun comes out, and so the sun is drying the rain off the grass, and you're near an orange orchard, and you can smell the orange leaves, and you're somewhere in the Mediterranean. You can smell the herbs as well, like the basil and the thyme and the rosemary and stuff like that. Those aren't in this, but it does have a very mixed herbal kind of fresh herbs kind of feel about it, and it's got that slight lamelle background and backbone as well, but it doesn't have that sort of vanillic kind of sweetness. It's almost like a honey sweetness. There's a sort of almost like a bleachy smell in this as well. It's very unusual. It does lean slightly feminine. A lot of people complain about it in that regard, saying that it smells a bit feminine. It's got a slightly acrid smell to it as well. It's an astringency in here as well. I've heard people saying it smells like cat's pee, which I completely disagree with, unless they've got very, very... I don't kind of grab their cat, yeah, let me have a go on that cat, and just rub it around my neck like that, you know what I mean? And I can't praise it highly enough. The longevity is staggering on this. Again, it's like a niche fragrance. This one is niche quality in my book, utterly no doubt. If you took this now and took away people's memory of it altogether and reintroduced it in a different... well, probably the same bottle, actually, but just disguised the people... erased this memory from people, and then brought it out as a niche fragrance all in its own right, it would sell, definitely. I think. According to me, I'd buy it. The thing about this now is because it has been discontinued for so long, and it is so it's sought after, that you're either going to need to be very lucky to find some of it, or not care how much you're going to spend on it, because I've seen it going for silly prices on eBay. I've already used a whole bottle of it, which is up there, the empty bottle. This bottle is down to here, so I'm nearly about having to open another bottle as well. But don't you worry about me, I'll be fine. Utterly, utterly stunning, and the crescendo of my 5 choices. Right, there you go. So cheers, Dan, for the tag. I don't really know if I should tag someone else, because one, I don't know if they'd be particularly thankful, you know, oh cheers Sue, and secondly, I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to do that now. I need to have a few more followers and subscribers and watchers and viewers and stuff, which you can help me with, right? So, like if you like, comment if you wanna, subscribe if you would, press the notification thing, share my video please, that would be great. And it just remains for me to say, safe man, chill out, enough respect, and I will catch you next time. Sweet.